In a bustling city park filled with the sounds of laughter, footsteps, and the distant hum of traffic, a young man sat on a wooden bench, his head lowered and his hands clasped together tightly. His thoughts were swirling with dreams of success and worries about his future. He could picture himself as a successful entrepreneur, leading a life of wealth and purpose. But there was something holding him back. Fear. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. And, perhaps most of all, fear of taking the first step. Just then, an older man, well-dressed but with a simple air about him, sat down beside him. The young man recognized him immediately. He was known throughout the city as a self-made man, someone who had started from nothing and built an empire. Yet despite his wealth, he seemed content, peaceful even, a stark contrast to the turmoil that swirled inside the young man. Sensing the young man's distress, the old man spoke, his voice calm yet piercing. "You seem deep in thought, son. What's troubling you?" The young man hesitated but then decided to open up. "I was just thinking, one day I'll be successful, like you. I have big dreams, big plans, but I haven't started yet. Every time I think about taking the first step, I hear the voices in my head. What will people say if I fail? What if they all laugh at me?" The old man listened intently and then let out a soft chuckle. "Ah, the famous one day," he said with a knowing smile. "Do you know how many people I've heard say that? One day I'll do this. One day I'll do that. But son, let me tell you something. One day is a thief. It robs you of your time, your potential, and your dreams. You see, one day is a fantasy, but day one is a commitment. The difference between the two is that one day is just a wish, while day one is the beginning of a journey." The young man looked puzzled. "But it's not that easy. Everyone seems to have an opinion about what I should and shouldn't do. It's like they're waiting for me to fail." The old man's gaze grew serious. "Do you really think other people's opinions matter when it comes to your dreams? Most people who criticize are just projecting their own fears onto you. They're afraid to step out of their comfort zones, so they'd rather hold you back than confront their own insecurities. If you let their voices dictate your choices, you're giving them control over your life. Tell me, is that what you want?" The young man shook his head, the realization dawning on him. He wanted control over his own destiny, not to be a puppet of other people's expectations. But his doubts lingered. "What if I fail?" he asked quietly. The old man's expression softened. "Failure is a part of success, son. It's the part that teaches you, shapes you, and makes you stronger. Every time I failed, I learned something valuable. I stumbled, but I got back up. That's the difference between those who succeed and those who don't. Most people are so afraid of failing that they'd rather never start. But that's not really living, is it? It's merely existing." The young man's eyes lit up, a glimmer of hope emerging from beneath his fear. "So you're saying that I should start now, even if I'm scared?" "Yes," the old man replied without hesitation. "Fear is natural, but it's also a choice. You can choose to let it control you, or you can choose to harness it. Think about it. If you wait for fear to disappear, you'll be waiting forever. But if you take action despite the fear, you're already ahead of most people. They'll still be standing on the sidelines, watching while you're out there, learning, growing, building something real. Don't wait for one day. Make today your day one." The young man nodded, feeling a surge of courage rising within him. The fears and doubts that had once seemed so overwhelming now felt more like challenges to overcome than reasons to give up. He could feel the urgency, the weight of time slipping away. He knew he had to start now, not because he was ready, but because he couldn't afford to wait any longer. He stood up, looked at the old man with gratitude and said, "Thank you. I'm going to make today my day one." The old man smiled, watching the young man walk away with newfound determination. He knew that the path ahead wouldn't be easy, but he also knew that it would be worth it. As he watched the young man disappear into the distance, he thought about all the people who spend their lives waiting for the right time, the right moment. They wait for one day, but they never realize that one day is simply a lie we tell ourselves to avoid taking action. The old man whispered to himself, "Yes, make today your day one, because life is too short to keep waiting for one day to come." Success is not reserved for those who wait for the perfect moment. It belongs to those who take action despite their fears. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and each step taken today brings you closer to your dreams. Don't let the opinions of others or the fear of failure hold you back. Choose to make today your day one and embrace the possibilities that come with it. This moral emphasizes the importance of taking initiative and overcoming fear